Dear friends, a big and warm thank you to Pierre and Peter for the kind invitation to send a video message to the Scandinavian congregation in São Paulo on this very special occasion, the 50th anniversary of the beautiful Scandinavian church in São Paulo. In 1960, my father Elias Berge was asked by the Lutheran World Federation to travel and move his whole family to São Paulo in Brazil and help establish a new Lutheran congregation for all Scandinavians living in São Paulo and in the areas around that big city. It was quite a big move for our family, from a little mountainous and freezing Norwegian village in Hallingdal to the big, sunny and pulsating metropole of São Paulo. But my father and my mother, Maria, adapted quickly and did everything they could for all Scandinavians living in São Paulo. It was a long and challenging road to raise this beautiful church. And my father spent a lot of time trying to organize everything and raise enough money. Of course, in close cooperation with many active Swedish, Danish and Norwegian members of the congregation here in São Paulo, and many others as well. I can't believe we have a fisherman from Western Norway as a priest here in São Paulo, said a Norwegian ship owner in an interview with a Norwegian newspaper on the 31st of December 1971. He was a very strange person, always on the move, always restless. It was as if the pile of documents was whirled up when he burst into the city offices. He could come gesticulating or with folded hands, sometimes crying, sometimes laughing, threatening or praying, but he always got the whole machine running at full speed, if that's what was needed and wanted, the Norwegian ship owner told the newspaper. Let me here tell you a quite funny story from the time my father raised money for the new Scandinavian church in São Paulo. And it's just how it was reported in a Norwegian newspaper. It was during the collection of funds for the construction of a new Scandinavian church center, during a large party in an exclusive restaurant where the city's and the church celebrities were present. Berge got into an argument with a wealthy Dane and received the following offer. There is an elephant on the lorry out in the street. If you manage to get it into the restaurant without help, I will give you 1,000,000 cruzeiros for the church. My father walked out. In his own special way, he managed to persuade the driver of the lorry to open the hatch at the back. And with the help of persuasion, pushing, and probably a good deal of prayers, he managed to get the 4-ton heavy elephant down from the lorry and into the restaurant. Then around a Viking ship of a table with hot and cold dishes. The ladies jumped up on the tables and screamed as if the elephant was a mouse. The diamonds sparkled. There was a terrible noise. When we finished the round, some shouted that we should do it again. Even more money was offered. I got my 1,000,000 cruzeiros and apparently a couple of million more, said my father to the newspaper, laughing out loud. Later on, the Swedish weekly magazine Se, or Look, wrote shortly afterwards, "Be aware of the Norwegian pastor in São Paulo. He goes to nightclubs with women and elephants." On that night, he collected more than 5 million cruzeiros for the new church building, as well as 3 church bells. After that June night, he had no trouble making contact with the São Paulo authorities, as the events at the restaurant made also headlines in São Paulo's newspapers. All doors were really open to him. And in the government offices, for a long time afterwards, he was always asked the question, "How is the pastor's elephant?" After 6 years, when our family left São Paulo in August 1966, they had only a week in the new house for the Scandinavian priest and his family. In addition, I understand the Sunday school building was finished, and for the church building itself, a foundation ceremony had taken place. And a total of 371 families were paying members of the Scandinavian church. And that was about 2/3 of all the Scandinavians living in the São Paulo area. My father died, by the way, in 1998, but he was back in São Paulo for the official opening of the church in 1974. But in an interview, he said the following: "Maria, my wife, and I initially intended to devote our lives to South America. We had 3 children before we traveled to Brazil: Margaret, Gisle, and Elise. The 4th, Bjørn, was born in Brazil. But then in 1966, we were called back home. I found it hard to leave the outstanding work I had down there," he said. For my siblings, my 2 sisters and brothers, it was also very hard to leave São Paulo after so many happy years. My sister put it in this way: "Mom and Dad went back to their home country, Norway. But we, the kids, left what we felt was our home country, Brazil." Well, that was probably way too much about my father and our family. But you see, the time in São Paulo is something that we will remember for the rest of our lives. And my mother, who is now 102 years old, but quite sick, encouraged me and smiled when she heard I could say a few words to you on this great occasion. So I will end by wishing all of you all the best. I will be back in Brazil for the first time on a work-related trip to São Paulo and Brasilia later in October. And for me, it will be so special to see Peter and visit the beautiful Scandinavian church. You see, the 6 years we lived in São Paulo meant so much to my whole family. We will never forget it, and congratulations again on the 50th anniversary.